Good morning and welcome to each of you as members of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. I would like to personally thank each of you for your service to the country. Thank you. Before we dive into the exercises, I would first like to provide you with a quick overview of Microsoft Access. I believe this will help those of you who are less familiar with using Access to get a chance to get a quick look at an Access database without getting too technical. Many of my beginning students have expressed to me how the overview has helped them once things get a little more challenging. I have created this short video with that purpose in mind. Let's get started. First of all, a database is a collection of like types of information. This information is stored in something called records. A row represents a single record. Each record is broken down further into individual fields, and each field typically contains common information such as state, capital, population, or even gun registration numbers, etc. Microsoft Access is a relational database as opposed to a flat database or a flat file, such as Microsoft Excel. The difference between the two will be explained in detail a little later, but I'd like to give you a quick overview right now. A database consisting of a single table with records and fields is referred to as a flat file or flat database. A perfect example would be Microsoft Excel, which happens to use the row and column format. Each row is a single record and each labeled column is a field. Only one sheet or table can be used for the database. Sheets cannot be combined. A relational database, on the other hand, uses tables that are linked together by a common field, referred to as a key. This saves the necessity to have redundant data in your database and makes for more efficient processing. We'll see the advantages of the relational database when we create one on day 2. Some examples of databases would include the following. And this list is by no means all-inclusive, but as you can see, there's different types of databases that can be maintained. Interestingly, after I researched ATF a little on the internet, I was surprised to learn that the Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986 makes it illegal for a national government or any state in the country to keep any sort of database or registry that ties firearms directly to the owner. I further discovered that ATF was required by the GAO to delete over 252 million gun sales records. Please forgive me for injecting my personal opinion here, but I'm kind of scratching my head over that one. Now, let's take a look at different objects, as they are referred to, that make up a typical Access database. The first object you will likely begin to work with is called a table. A table looks very much like a row and column spreadsheet. In Access, the column headings may be customized to more closely reflect what type of information is stored in that column. Remember, a row is a record and a column is referred to as a field. In a table, you may add, make changes to, or delete records at any time. Another object you will likely encounter is called a query. A query is a dynamic subset of tables or a single table. A query is similar to a question that you may submit to the database and receive current information based on that question. It is very similar in appearance to a table. and queries may be saved for later use. When using queries, you may add, change, or delete records just like in a table. This prevents the need to leave one object for another to perform these functions. An example of a query would be a list of individuals with gang affiliation, or another example would be a list of agents who are due a raise. Depending upon what type of data is stored in the database, the possibilities are endless. Queries may be saved for future use if desired, and will always provide results which reflect current data, unless specified otherwise. The next object I would like to take a look at is called a form. Forms provide a graphical interface for modifying data in tables. You may design a form by yourself using the software, which is very time-consuming, or you may choose to use the form wizard, which I might say is a very easy way to do it. You're going to learn how to do both. And there are other ways to create forms that we will also cover once we get to that section. When you're using forms, just like with tables and queries, you may make changes to, add, or delete records in that form. In fact, it is very possible to customize forms to match existing forms. A good example would be this form that's used for inputting data within the ATF. On the left you will see the primary form, and on the right you will see several subforms. You will be learning a lot more about these forms later on. The last object we cover on day 1 is called a report. Reports provide a streamlined way of viewing data. Reports do not permit adding, changing, or deleting of records. They are strictly output. Reports can be custom designed or use the report wizard, which of course is much easier. They can also be modified once they are completed. A sample form I found on your website is shown here on the left. It would be an easy process to create this exact form in Microsoft Access. Of the remaining 2 objects, macros will be introduced on day 3. Modules will not be introduced in this class due to the fact that a knowledge of Visual Basic Programming language is required, and that is a whole new area of study. I use my Visual Basic User's Guide to help put me to sleep at night in the event I'm having trouble with that. It works wonders. Well, that's the end. I would certainly like to thank you for your attention. I hope that quick little overview has provided you with some insight into what to expect. As we progress through the material on each day, your knowledge level will become deeper and deeper. And I hope you enjoy the class. Thank you very much.